So Kent is my father and also my best friend. We worked alongside each other for many, many years at the Integer Group. He was a VP creative director and I was an art director there. I attribute all of my success in my career to his guidance and everything that he's provided me along the way.
My dad grew up in small town South Dakota. Highmore, South Dakota is where he's from. From a young age, he was very drawn towards different creative things in his life. Most, I think, impactful for his life is his musical ability. He started playing the piano at a really young age. He was in band all through elementary school and high school. He went on to college at the University of South Dakota. He was in the Coyote Marching 100 band there. It's hard to think about where he was and where he is now.
We all noticed that things just seemed a little off for a couple of years. After our mom passed away, I don't think that he ever fully recovered from that loss. It was very, very traumatic.
When I moved back home after college, I moved back in to our childhood home with my dad, and that's when we officially became, roommates instead of me just living with my father. There were a lot more restless nights, and I thought he was just overwhelmed with work, with other things he was working on, but then he started asking me more and more questions that he was having trouble answering, and then it just sort of progressed further and further.
All those pieces kind of fit together to say this was pretty clear that there was something that was going on.
We were having conversations about, him just not acting right and some memory issues. And around that time, the director from the Des Moines Community Playhouse called and asked him to be in a show that they were producing. And we were all a little bit nervous about that, just given his behavior. He agreed to be in the show, and as rehearsals progressed, the director called me. We have a long-standing relationship with the Community Playhouse. Both of my parents were very active there. And the director called me and said, something's not right. He's not taking direction well, he's forgetting his lines, and we knew that he was very stressed about the show as well. And the director said, I just have to ask him to not be in the show. So when I shared that news with him, a huge sigh of relief, because he was so stressed about it and so frustrated that it just wasn't coming together. And I think that was a big wake-up call that there is something significant going on here.
We ultimately were led to the memory clinic at Broadlands. We met with Dr. Shaw at the time, and he was given a formal diagnosis of early onset Alzheimer's. And at that point in time, his stage was even considered severe for when he was given his diagnosis.
It was another day to him. I don't think he fully comprehended what he was just told. We asked him after the fact, and we said, Dad, what do you think about being told that you have Alzheimer's? And I think his response was, when do we get to go get lunch?
For me, it was almost a little bit of a relief that we had a name in official diagnosis to tie his symptoms to. It wasn't some weird, out of the blue, undefined disease, but that it was something that we could actually put a name to and know that there's lots of resources on how to start this journey on giving him the best care that he needs.
Luckily, my siblings and I have been on the same page throughout this journey. So we reached a stage where his safety was compromised and our mental state was compromised, and having to be full-time caretakers. My brother Willis was the point person, caring for him literally 24/7. We all have full-time jobs. Obviously, we've got kids. It became too much and we were worried. So we had a call and we discussed it, and I just broke down and said to my siblings, if Kent knew what we were having to do, what we are going through, in order to provide care for him, he would be devastated. He doesn't want this for us. He doesn't want to be a burden on us. We, throughout our entire lives, have been the most important part of his life. He has given all of himself to his children. He goes overboard to provide us with this abundance, and I know that he wouldn't want us to have to worry as much as we've been worrying after what we went through with my mom as well.
The Alzheimer's Association, I think, first and foremost, we really just used a lot of the online resources to begin with, found them to be very helpful. We had some family coming in town and we knew of the upcoming walk that was happening to Des Moines.
So we quickly got a team together, and within a very short period of time, we raised close to $8,000. We didn't know what to expect when arriving at the walk, and when I walked in, I was amazed. I felt I'm in a community of people that understand what we're going through, and we are all joining together to try and find a cure and make this better. It just felt like a room full of support. So I was very excited to be a part of it. We're excited to do it again this year and hopefully raise even more money.
There is a capacity that everybody has who isn't a trained professional in treating or caring for somebody with Alzheimer's, and you're going, as a family member or a loved one that has it, you're going to reach that capacity.
I have been using the website since diagnosis. There are so many different, which I didn't realize until my father was diagnosed, so many different types and symptoms of Alzheimer's. So there's a lot of resources for family caregivers, and so having all of that literature to read through has been extremely helpful. And then of course the resources in helping us find a home for him, a place where he can be safe. I often look at the website just with questions, just general inquiries of like, is this normal, or other ways that we could get involved, or be part of like a webinar series to learn more. It's a wonderful website, a wonderful organization, and they have endless amounts of resources for anyone from the beginning stages of Alzheimer's all the way through to when you have to have that full-time dependent care.
We wouldn't be as strong of a unit as we are if we didn't have each other. It takes an army, and asking for help is the most important thing that you can do.